Hello, good people. So today we're going to tackle hemolytic disease of the newborn. It's a condition usually experienced by rhesus negative mothers when they have rhesus positive partners. So for men, it doesn't count as much, but when it comes to ladies, if you're rhesus negative, always make sure you take care of that pregnancy, and that will also count towards the subsequent pregnancies. I'm sure you've seen or you've heard somewhere a partner or someone who just got the first kid completely well. Their first pregnancy was completely successful, but then the subsequent ones usually don't come to term. One of the culprits, we have several reasons. One of them is blood group. I'm sure by now you know we have A, we have B, we have AB, we have O, and then we have the rhesus factor. So we usually have like A positive or A negative. So the positive and the negative aspect is the rhesus status. So if I'm A positive, it means that I have the rhesus antigen with me. If I'm A negative, it means I don't have that rhesus antigen. So we'll just talk about them in another topic, maybe a podcast. But in this one, just for purely making sure that you understand. Now, rhesus negative mother, you conceive from a rhesus positive husband. What will happen is the kid will definitely be rhesus positive, and this will be picked by the immunity during birth. So the kid will be protected. The first pregnancy usually is. It will be protected well, so the immunity of the mother might not affect the kid at all. But during birth, or maybe late during the pregnancy, you might have some injuries, and the body will now sense, hey, there's something new inside me. So the only thing that the body knows best to do is to produce the factors that will fight anything new in the body. And this is what we call antibodies. We have so many other factors, but we're going to focus on antibodies. One, we have two types of them. We have IgG and we have IgMs. So the IgMs are usually the first one to be produced during any infection. So because the pregnancy will be treated like an infection, like a pathogen, like something foreign. So it will use the immunity to fight that back. And the first thing will be produced will be IgM. So because the body will protect, the kid will be protected in the womb, the IgMs are usually large, so they cannot cross the placenta. So the first kid will survive. But then, let alone during the same immune response stimulation, you are going to get IgGs. They will be transformed. They kind of keep memory so that in case that something comes back in the future, it will be ready. It will not take any time to like fight that thing out of the body. Now, when you give birth or during birth, your body will come into contact with the kid, which is now the rhesus positive kid. And the body will be something called sensitization will happen, such that if there was no injury during the pregnancy, during birth, by default, there will be contact between the mother and the kid, and the body will now know, oh, there's something foreign. In the future, you're going to find things usually called IgGs. These are type of antibodies. So what will happen is IgMs cannot cross the placenta. IgGs will, and IgGs are usually, they persist longer in the blood. And this is what will happen. You're going to get the second pregnancy from the same rhesus positive partner. And then because now the body is ready, it already has the small ones, the IgGs, they'll cross the placenta and they'll go and fight the kid. So the pregnancy, during the fetal development, we have stages where we have development of the blood islands. So that's where the red blood cells will be formed, and because they have rhesus antigen with them, when the IgG, because they are patrolling, they can patrol almost everywhere because they can even cross the placenta. They are small enough. When they come and they find something new, it's an antigen, the rhesus antigen, they are going to go and alert the body that, hey, we have something new and we need to fight it. Because you remember what we found last time, this is exactly what we have there. So the immune will be so prompt to act on it, and yeah, the pregnancy will be destroyed early in time. And it's very dangerous because that point, it's very hard to conceive any other kid because now the body is already sensitized and it's very hard to get rid of the IgGs. Now, to prevent all of this, and this is where you need to listen carefully. If you get pregnant, at all, even if you're either planning to keep it or you're not planning medically or not, or maybe even if you suspect, maybe you usually have miscarriage, make so long as you know that you're pregnant, make sure you go and you get tested and take key note of your Rhesus factor. If you are Rhesus negative, yeah, okay, if you are Rhesus, let's start with the positive one. If you are Rhesus positive, there's no call for alarm. You can just proceed as usual. If you are Rhesus negative, you need to, one, if you're keeping the pregnancy, you need to go to a hospital and make sure they understand that you are Rhesus negative. And that usually happens. What they'll do is during late phases of your pregnancy, they are going to inject you with something called rogam. It will prevent your body from even noticing there is something foreign in you. So after being injected with that, then there's nothing that's going to happen. Even if you give birth, the body will not even notice that there was something new. So the body will not be sensitized. So even the subsequent pregnancies will be safe. And this will have to be in frequently. So what you'll have to be doing every time you get pregnant, you just go get that injection, so that it will prevent your body from producing the antibodies against the pregnancy. So even if you're planning to, like, we have countries where abortion is kind of legal, or if you're planning to have anything of that sort, make sure you get tested for your blood group, your Rhesus factor status. I'm sure you have seen instances where a lady maybe terminated the first pregnancy, and they are not able to, like, conceive to full term any other subsequent pregnancy. This is one of the reasons, and that's why I usually tell everyone, once you discover that you're pregnant, the first thing you need to do, go be enrolled for an ANC profile if you're planning to keep that. If not, then make sure you get tested for your blood group, because that will save you subsequent pregnancies. Yeah, it's purely scientific, so don't go there saying that maybe you are bewitched. No, this is purely science. When you are male and you are Rhesus negative, you don't need to, like, worry about anything. The only thing that you need to do is to make sure you know the blood group of your daughters in case you have them. Make sure you definitely know their Rhesus positive or Rhesus negative statuses, so that you'll be able to prepare them in advance. So you cannot use blood group to maybe select the partner that you're going to live with. But if you so happen to, like, meet this as negative lady, knows there's something called rogam, you're going to be using that every time you get pregnant, and that will keep your pregnancy all the way up to the end, and you're going to give birth to a very healthy baby. And you're going to get as many as you want, so long as each and every time you go to a hospital before you give birth, you get injected with that same rogam. It will be injected at one point in your pregnancy, so it's very good for you to do that. Get tested, and definitely know. If your Rhesus positive, there's no call for any alarm. Like I said, if your Rhesus positive husband, it will be a call for alarm if you have a Rhesus negative lady. If you are Rhesus negative, you don't care, so that will not even matter. The only thing that you need to understand is you'll have to make sure that you get to know the blood groups of your children, your daughters, so that you get to prepare them early enough. Okay, so let's continue the conversation down there in the comment region, and don't forget to like and subscribe the video if you learned something.